but I'm using 40-pound test, and I'm going to be using the pink in the HD fluorocarbon. And then the next thing is we just got a spool here of Suffix high vis 30-pound test. We're using the high vis, just hopefully you guys can see it whenever we're breaking it. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my bobbing tool. So this is a PR bobbing tool. This is used to tie the knot, the PR knot. And the first thing that you want to do is put your line through the tip of the bobbing tool right here. So you just thread it in like so. Once you've got it in, then you pinch it between these two rubber gaskets. See the two rubber gaskets right there? So I'm just gonna give myself enough slack that I can actually wedge it in there, pinch it in there. And what I like to do is I like to pull it back through to where there's not so much tag in, sticking out, right around there. And then you're gonna spin it on, just like this. And you wanna be generous on how much you spin on there, because the last thing you want is to run out of line and this thing coming back and hitting you in the face or whatever the case may be. So you're gonna be pretty generous. I would say you're probably gonna put 2 to 3 feet on there, maybe even a little more. I don't really keep track. I just keep spinning until I run out of line. But I'm gonna put a little bit more on, just like that. Feel pretty good about that. That's on there pretty good. Now this right here is a tensioner, so you can loosen it or tension the spool there. So as it spins, that's how tight it's gonna wind onto your fluorocarbon. I like it pretty tight. It's a good idea to go pretty tight with the spool, and you'll get, as you do it more and more, you'll get a feel for how tight you need it to be to tie a successful knot. What you wanna do is line your fluorocarbon up with your braid right there, right? And you want to grab it with your 2 fingers, just like this. So I'm grabbing it with 2 fingers, and I'm going to wrap it around my fingers, nice and tight. This is going to give me a good grip. And as I get further along in this knot, it's going to get really tight around my fingers. So you want to have a good grip, otherwise you'll lose it. And then the first thing you do is you spin down the fluorocarbon, just like this. Spin it down. I mean, you're looking for, you know, I would say 2 to 2.5 inches would probably be all you need. Something like that there. And this is the tricky part, guys. So what you need to do is go in the same direction. You're gonna pinch the end right there. You see how I have it pinched? This is the important part. This is critical. So if you're ever gonna pay attention to one of my videos, right now is the time, right? So you flip it over, and you want it to go over your line the other way. I'll do it 1, 2, even 3 times, just like that, right? And this is gonna make sure that whenever you start spinning this thing, it's gonna go the opposite way. So you wanna kind of tilt this way, so you've got an angle downwards. Grab your fluoro back here so you got something to whip it with. You see the tilt that I have? And now we're gonna flip it. And we're gonna keep going. And what this is doing is this is actually creating the knot. It's spinning down. And like I said, I'm looking for I'm actually 1.5 inches, 2 inches. Some guys even go 3 inches. I've heard guys say you only need 1 inch, but you know, I'm just using a visual reference of how long I've done them before in the past, and that's about it right there. So I'd say that's about 1.5 inches, 2 inches. Now at this point, you want to pinch it at the end, and you go ahead and pull your bobbing tool off. And also, you're gonna want to just cut it, give yourself just enough tag in here that you can finish your knot. And how I finish this knot, it's just like the FG. I do it the same way as the FG. A lot of guys have their own styles of finishing this, but I like to do in the same direction 8 overhand knots. The first one's critical. You want to make sure you get all the way up there, right to where you finish spinning that bobbing tool on there. You want to get all the way up there. So that's 1. I'm going to do 1 more, 2, 3, and I give it a little shake, just like that, just to kind of wedge it in there and get it nice and tight. 6, 7, and 8, and that'll be the final one. So now I'm going to take my fluorocarbon, I'm going to unwrap it from here. There is some tricks of unspinning without having to do like this. It will just all unspin itself. I haven't figured that one out yet. Christopher Doyle has got it down, but I haven't seen him do it to figure it out. But unspin it just like this, and you're going to cut that fluorocarbon tag in as close as you possibly can. So I'm going to get right in there without cutting my braid and give it a nice pop right there. And now essentially your knot is done at this point, but I like to finish it off with 5 more half hitches all in the same direction. And the reason why I'm doing the final 5 is really just to build a ramp to go in and out of my guides. And some guys will finish it off with the rizzuto. I just like to do the half hitches and be done with it. So this is just really putting a nice little ramp on the end of it. And then you're gonna go ahead and cut the tag in of that braid right there. And you could put glue on this if you really want to get fancy. You know, you could use the UV knot sense and put glue on it or whatever the case may be. But if you take a look, it's a really nice knot. It's tight and it's going to serve you well.